Good. We do have a member of the Minister Alliance here with us this evening. I'm assuming that's what you're here for, Pete.
I just want to see you.
All right, please come forward.
Father, we do thank you for the freedom that we have, that we can even, in this meeting here, to ask for your help. And, they face and make a lot of different decisions that affects a lot of people. And looks like they got a lot of things to talk about tonight. And we just ask that you would just give them wisdom, and any other groups that's here, that you would, just bless our time here and just take care of business and be glorified in our town and do great things in our town, continue to provide all our needs and safety. And just bless this meeting in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I call the November 6, 2023 Board of Aldermen meeting to order. City Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Jeremy Taylor.
Here.
Rachel Kilmer. Here. Pam Pope.
Here.
Kelly Netto. Here. Tracy Newcomer. Here. Jim Shrout. And Mayor Dana Webb.
Here, thank you. The next item on the agenda is new business deletions or continuances. We do not have any of those this evening, so we will move on to public comments. Do we have any public comments?
There are none.
Thank you. The next item on the agenda is the consent agenda. These items are considered on the consent agenda so that members of the Board of Aldermen, by unanimous consent, can designate routine items to be approved in one motion. Tonight, we have approval of the October 16th, 2023 Board of Aldermen meeting minutes and expenditures through November 2nd, 2023.
I make a motion that we approve the consent agenda. I'll second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. Any discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. The next item on the agenda is unfinished business. We do not have any of that this evening, so we will move on to new business. The first item for new business is a presentation from the Chamber of Commerce regarding Lick Skillet Days 2023. Tracy?
Thank you so much. It's my pleasure to be with all of you this evening. Wanted to say thank you to everyone for all of their help with Lick Skillet 2023. This year we had alcohol throughout the entire event. Thank you very much for voting that through. We had no issues with making the footprint all alcohol for the entire event. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that in a minute. We cut off liquor sales at 9 o'clock. And people were very respectful of having that cut off at 9 o'clock, and then the event itself ended at 10, and we really had no problems with that as well. We found that to be a really good time frame for the town, so I think it worked out very well. We found that our partnerships with the American Legion, they sold our beer, and that was a good partnership to have. They sold 109 cups both nights total. And then we had a partnership with Embrace the Grape. They did our mixed drinks. They sold 420 cups both nights total. That's 529 drinks total. Last year, it was at least 648 drinks for both days. So we found it was interesting in changing the footprint over the entire event that we actually had less alcohol sales than we had had in years prior. And that kind of holds with the research that people, if you have it within the entire footprint, that it's a little bit less of a problem. And I think Chief would agree that things were pretty easy to handle that night.
Very much so.
Okay. So we did cornhole. We had a partnership with NFG KC Cornhole. And then we again had our partnership with Westside Event Space where we did the art show and the bingo. The carnival, the Kids Zone was successful. We did sell 326 wristbands to the Kids Zone, so we know that we had plenty of kids in and out of the Kids Zone the whole time. We do want to say that we had some fantastic volunteers through the National Honor Society that came and stayed for both days, all day, which was wonderful. So we want to make sure that we recognize them. We know that people continue to enjoy the games and the activities, and we want to really thank Public Works for your help with all of the electricity. That's always a challenge, but I feel like we rose to the challenge, and the city was extremely helpful in making that happen. We had more vendors this year than we have ever had. We had 65 vendors, and we are looking at ways to expand this even more next year. We had good feedback from our vendors. Angie and I walked around, and one of the vendors, for example, said, "This is the safest event I have been at all year," and appreciated how the event was handled. We are looking at commercial via craft percentages for next year to make sure that we have enough craft vendors, artisans there. We want to make sure that we have enough crafts. And we are looking at continuing our staging as we did this particular year. We had a lot of positive comments about the staging being at the end of Broadway, and so we're planning on doing that again. Now, that's all the good stuff. We did have a few challenges. The blow-ups, the inflatables versus doing a carnival is always a huge discussion point. I'm going to tell you why that didn't happen this year and my proposal for what we're going to do in the future. The placing of rides, if we ever do that, space-wise, is going to be a concern for future. We need to talk to the city about making this a perpetual date, and I'm going to explain why in just a minute. The other challenge we had, of course, was street cleaning, so we're going to make sure that we have a street cleaner for next year. And then we also would like to get additional buy-in from the community and help from the community. So with the challenges, here is my ask about the date. I would propose, the chamber actually proposes, that we make this event the last weekend in September in perpetuity, instead of coming every single year to get the date approved. And here is why. We have been looking into the carnival situation. You might remember we did have a carnival last year. That carnival, when we called them, was no longer available because they were having problems with their rides. And I suspect it was because that they were a little bit less than reputable carnival. That is not the type of carnival we want to bring because, of course, safety is one of our primary concerns. So we figured right after Lick Skillet, we would get on the phone right away and get a carnival booked for next year, and they are booking 12 to 18 months in advance. And so if we don't get this date approved, right now we're set to not have a carnival next year. If we don't get this date approved in perpetuity, we will not be able to grow this as we hope that we could. I know there is a lot of speaking in the community about wanting to have a carnival type event, something for the bigger kids. For us to be able to do that, we need to get the event set. That last weekend in September helps us to stay away from when all the other cities are doing their events. I know it conflicts with some of the things happening at the schools. We might have a football game. But even this year, we had a football game that weekend, but we had a band competition the next weekend and the next weekend, and then we had homecoming. I don't know that we're going to be able to work around that. So that is the first ask, is to get that on the last weekend of September. And then the second ask is, because we were so successful with the liquor sales being safe and done well, we'd like to have that same footprint for the alcohol sales next year. And now I'm open for questions.
Thank you,
Have you guys-
Tracy.
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Have you guys thought about moving it into like a May timeframe? Or is that, I know they had Mayfest once, somebody did, several years ago. Do you remember that? It was Jaden's kindergarten year because she
Is that
was
the
Miss
one
Oak Grove.
that was at Lower Frick?
Yes. And there was a large carnival, and I was just thinking of the date and the conflicts with the school and everything like that.
It has not been something that we've discussed. Again, we're trying to kind of model too what all the other all the communities have fall festivals, and so it kind of is a big draw for us that it's in Green Valley one weekend, in Blue Springs one weekend, and then it's here, so it's kind of a big pull. People want to go to those things every weekend, so.
I have a question. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Is any way to communicate with the school regarding homecoming? Because it tends to vary every year when it is, and
Well, if we set this date as the last weekend in September, then they'll know. They'll always know.
They do a lot with, like, the band. They move homecoming around a lot
Okay.
from what I know of it, which is not a lot, but band competitions and things like that, they generally try and work with the band.
Well, and Tracy, you communicated last year with Mindy, and she did the half-day out of school so that kids could come and enjoy
Exactly.
also. So
Exactly.
you are trying to communicate with the school.
Yes. We talk with the school constantly, yes.
Yeah, I mean, I think that makes sense to me to have a recurring date, just for attendance too, so people know to plan trips and the things like that, and vendors
Well,
can count on
exactly,
it.
and, if our vendors all know the date, and if we could get the carnival, and if we could grow it, if it was a standing date, I think it would do a lot for the growth of this event, which is our objective, right? Is to continue to grow the event.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense. That's, the city does Spirit of Christmas always, the second Saturday in December, right? That's it?
First Saturday.
Excuse me.
First Saturday, I was gonna
Scratch
say
that,
something.
scratch that. I saw you staring me down. It's because it's December 2nd this year. There's my
Right,
edit.
there you go.
There you go. So,
Well, we can't like make a motion on this at the moment, right?
yes, you
But
can.
We can. Oh. Okay, I make a motion to, plan for the annual Lick Skillet Days to occur the last Saturday in September every year.
Friday and Saturday.
The last Friday and Saturday in September every year, and to continue their existing footprint with alcohol sales moving forward indefinitely.
I have a question.
Sure. Yeah, go ahead.
Why do we have to make a motion on this?
You don't have to,
Or, I
but
mean,
you
but
can.
what are we doing? We are setting the date, or?
No, they're asking permission because
Like,
typically
they
they,
only
get
have to
the
ask
date
permission this
approved.
one time from here on out?
yeah, unless something in their model changes, correct?
Correct.
So the same model that they've had every year that's approved by Public Works, Police, everything, they're asking, instead of them coming every year to get an approval and then get behind on vendors, that it would just be a set date that you guys would approve.
So I feel like I should amend the wording of that then.
Do you have some, you,
I was good. Well,
yeah,
go
Matt's been
ahead.
trying
Yeah,
to.
so I would suggest that if the board wants to, you could say that we're open to having this being a recurring event
Yeah.
the Friday and Saturday of September going forward so they can plan properly. But I would suggest that they still come in annually to get approval of the event, even though the days are locked in, to ensure that, we're okay with manpower from police. We've got barricades set up. It also puts on our tickler to get with MoDOT to close the street, also to ensure that they have proper liability insurance for the event. And our code does speak to special events, so we do have a special
Yeah, we
event
have a
permit
permit
process.
application, yeah.
Yeah,
That's
so
what I was
it could include, it would probably be best if it happened yearly, just for the liability insurance perspective.
Okay.
But you could lock in the dates and say, basically, you were going to approve these dates if these things are shown. That way, the chamber could make, plans
Arrangements.
and preparations.
But wouldn't that be for them to lock in? I mean, I guess that's what are we holding if we're holding, like, you guys don't need our approval,
We need approval to have the event.
right? But that goes back with the special permits and stuff like that, right? Like, don't you have the application?
Right, I think probably what the chamber is asking for is that, as best as this board can, even though you can't commit future boards to this, is that going forward, you would approve this specific date. That way they feel comfortable going out and getting with vendors, getting with carnivals to book a date for not just next year, but it sounds like they need to maybe even look at 2025, knowing that if approved tonight, if the motion is to, yes, this will be a kind of penciled-in date, that then in the future, they can come back and actually formalize it with a special event permit with the other
But that's
things that
not
are.
like
Or is there
from
even
here
a,
on out. Could we,
would there even be a motion for that, or just a general consensus from the board that
yeah.
we're in agreement with that?
Well, to make it official,
But what are we making official, though? I guess that's where I'm,
that you're giving them that date, but then they're supposed to come back yearly, which I would suggest you come back shortly after every Lick Skillet Days. And so that, typically when they come to do a presentation and ask for that weekend, you make a motion, just as you would be doing now.
Well, can we have like a, motion where we're like approving the date pending approval of their plan X number of days in advance of it or something like that?
What do you
For
think?
how many years? For like
We
the
could-
next
well,
5
I think we could
years?
slap any
Next-
number of years we want it,
Yeah.
right? Like, we'd say 3. It sounds like they book 12 to 18 months out. I mean, I don't know.
We won't be able to book a carnival for this year. So we're looking at 2025 to be able to do that. Yeah.
I mean, their ask is forever, but to Matt's point, forever probably cannot happen because boards change. So that's why he was saying you need to come back. But this board right now could approve them, as you're saying, for next year, or you could even say you're going to approve it for the next 5 years, 3 years, whatever. But then with them coming back each year with your outline of what you're going to do, because as Matt said, to check with police, public works, that we have the manpower to do it.
We'll always be back right
Right.
after the event.
And
Just like this.
some of you may not know that Chief and Matt and Kim are on the chamber board and meet regularly with the board and are constantly in communication, knowing what's going on with the chamber.
Is there a reason you can't come 12 to 15 months before
Yeah.
your proposed date and get approval at that time?
Or could they just submit a request like they normally would, but say,
For the
like when
next
it's on
3
the
years.
agenda that says, request to approve these dates for Lick Skillet, could they give us dates for 5 years out and then do that or approve that?
Yes.
It's like just fill out the
So
special.
ask for the next 5 years, the last week in September.
Oh, I see
I
what you're
think that
saying.
he was
To make a
not
date.
saying 5 years specifically,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
as like.
Well, yeah, I
line
mean,
up the
any
next
amount of
3
time. I don't know
yeah,
what-
However long you guys
if there's
line it
any-
out, I just.
Any restriction on how far out you could, in advance you can request something?
I think it's
don't know.
actually, it's up to you guys. I truly believe we're making it too difficult. Really. It's a matter of, do you want to approve them to continue to have Lick Skillet Days the last Saturday, the last weekend in September, and they're asking forever, which I understand you can't do forever, because that could change in 1 year if it gets, voted differently. But it's honestly up to you guys to make whatever motion you want to, or not.
I wonder if we can agree to the date and maybe not necessarily the footprint of alcohol, let that happen each year in case there are incidents or anything.
Well, and there's potentially a chance you would want to expand it maybe, right? I mean, if you continue to grow the event,
It's really the dates that are
Yeah.
of the utmost critical
But, so I guess we
nature
don't want to
right
lock in the footprint, though, in our motion then.
I mean, I would like to get the footprint locked in for next year so we could go ahead and plan, but, so for next year. But then the date is just the most critical part.
I have an idea, board. You could do something that you could at least get them set for next year, and then you could ask them to bring back dates and something, or just to send to city staff what you want. I don't know, I just,
Don't we have an application?
Yeah, if we're
Sure.
locking in
You
the
just
date.
fill out the application and for 2024, these are the dates. 2025, these are the dates. 2026, these are the dates. I mean, wouldn't that, instead of setting a solid motion from here on out for forever, without any, I don't know.
Because
It
you
just-
can fill out the application, there's no
There's no.
statute of limitations on how
Exactly.
soon you fill out the application, right?
Right, good
Like-
question.
does the application have a deadline on it? don't think
No, I
it
mean,
does, does it?
presumably, I guess you could apply for a special event
In 10 years.
however in advance you
Far
would
in
like,
advance.
yeah.
yeah. I don't care what we do. I just procedurally, it seemed like I was expecting presentation
Yes.
versus an agenda item
Yeah,
that said,
exactly.
requesting approval for this or whatever. So that's why it seemed odd to me, but I don't care what we do. I mean,
Well, it is a
how
pre-
we do
It
it.
is a presentation, you're correct, but at any time, each of you as board members, if there's a presentation, can make a motion upon that presentation. And so that's what Rachel asked, if she
Yeah.
could. So
But I
that's
guess
where we're
Can I
at.
amend my motion?
Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
I would like to move that we approve the last Friday in September in 2024 for the Chamber of Commerce's Lick Skillet Days, keeping the same footprint with alcohol throughout the festival, and recommend that the chamber fill out a special events form for the next however many years they prefer.
Okay, you only said Friday, so you're only approving the
And
one day?
Saturday.
Okay,
And Saturday.
sorry. Okay.
Yes.
But don't they need to fill out the special events form
That's-
before we approve this?
Yeah, the first one. Oh, I don't know. I mean, I think
Do they?
I think they still, okay,
Do they
can
need
I
to-
amend it again and say pending a special events form application? Because we're approving the dates and the footprint and the alcohol, and that's all in this motion. So we still need to see the application for terms of, you know what I mean? Does that make sense?
I believe they've approved things without the application being submitted, haven't they?
Yeah, I mean, so I guess my understanding of your motion is that you're approving the 2024 date as well as the same alcohol footprint, but
Pending.
pending them filling out the form application and then coming back for kind of a housekeeping to,
I don't think we had the application when they came last fall.
Not this new one,
That
you're right.
didn't exist.
You're right.
Oh,
You're right.
We didn't.
Okay,
okay, that's my motion.
okay, I think I have it, but okay, so
Someone can, you don't have to second it. That's what I came up with.
We are only talking about 2024.
Yes, that was 24.
Then
Yeah.
I would second that.
Okay, so I have a motion and a second for Lick Skillet, the chamber approval for Lick Skillet Days 2024, date, save the date, the Friday and Saturday, last weekend in September with alcohol footprint pending the chamber filling out the event application. Did I get it?
Correct, correct.
All right. Any discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Tracy, thank you. Thank you for fielding the questions. And I think the event was great. It always is. Lots of good feedback. It's a wonderful community event. So thank you for continuing to do what you all do. Thank you. Appreciate it. The next item on the agenda is discussion, consideration, and possible action regarding the mayoral reappointment of Jennifer Mosbach to the Park Board. Jennifer, I couldn't get a hold of her the last time when we had these, and I was able to, and she would like to be reappointed for that, so
Second?
I got to have a motion.
I make a motion that we approve Jennifer, I'm going to butcher her last name, to the Park Board. I'm sorry, reappoint, not approve.
I probably say it wrong, too.
I'll second.
All right, I have a motion and a second to reappoint Jennifer Mosbach to the Park Board.
I said it wrong.
Any discussion? Any discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. The next item on the agenda is discussion, consideration, and possible action regarding a request for local law enforcement block grant for the fiscal year of 2023. Chief?
Thank you, Mayor. This is a yearly request that I make in regards to surplus funds that are used by local law enforcement or smaller agencies to buy equipment. This year, it is a reimbursement grant for less than $10,000 in equipment, and we've used it in the past for protective gear, wrap equipment. And this year, I would like to use it for a response trailer. It would be an extravagance for a department like Oak Grove to have a command vehicle. It really would. It just would not be used. But we own cones, delineators, A-frames, barricades, canopies, lighting, and all of these tools or pieces of equipment are important if we need to close down a scene, close down a roadway. But the ability to put that into a car and get it to the scene, well, we can't pull a car away because that car is a blocking force, and we may not have the ability of a truck all the time. So I'm looking to purchase a box cargo trailer that will be our emergency response trailer that can be pulled by any police vehicle if it has a hitch, my truck, our Explorer, and that way that when we need the equipment, it is all together, secure in one place, and it can respond to any given area that we need. Looking at a cost of about $8,100 $195. Again, this would be a reimbursement grant that I would apply for the state through the local law enforcement block grant.
Thank you, Chief. Does the board have any questions for Chief?
Do the majority of your cars or vehicles have a hitch?
At least 2 of the patrol cars do, plus our trucks.
And just to clarify, so would you be purchasing the trailer first or applying for the grant first?
I'm seeking approval to put in for the grant.
For the grant, and then if you get the grant, then you
Yes.
purchase the trailer? Okay.
Yes. It's not currently an item on my intended budget,
Okay.
so the grant funds would be used for those things that are far and above and beyond what you would normally
Okay.
be purchasing.
That's crazy, you guys don't have a trailer. So when you have an emergency now, what do? You just throw cones in the back of
We
cars?
throw
and-
cones in the back of a patrol car, we throw them in my truck, we throw them in the white Explorer, we do what we need to do to get the equipment out there.
Yeah.
As well as that trailer may be pulled by one of our non-marked units, and so any member of the department or city could pull it out. It doesn't have to be a uniformed officer.
I make a motion to approve the request to apply for the local law enforcement block grant for fiscal year 2023 to purchase a trailer.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the local law enforcement grant for the trailer for the fiscal year of 2023. Any discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. The next item on the agenda is discussion, consideration, and possible action regarding the sale of surplus property. Corey? Yes.
It's on now?
Yes.
Oh, man, that was on the whole time.
Thank goodness you didn't say anything.
So, yeah, we get, as we have been for the last few years, and I'm sure, years prior, we've got a few items to sell on Gov Deals or Purple Wave. 5 items this year, a few of the Parks Departments. Scott might be able to answer any questions on those items. The biggest one that we have here is the 2009 International VACON. That's our VAC jet truck that we replaced back in last year, 22. It is inoperable right now. It's got several known issues, and that was kind of the reason for replacing it. Basically, it's a lemon. So that's the biggest item that we'd like to get out of here. And the air hoses are just, I think we got maybe 10 or 12 rolls of brand-new air hoses. I don't know where they came from or what they're for, but we tried to sell them last year. Somebody bought them and didn't pay for them, so we're going to try it again. And then the other items there, like I said, belong to the Parks Department. If you have any questions on those.
Thank you, Corey. Does the board have any questions for Corey about the surplus property?
I make a motion, we approve the sale of the surplus property listed in the packet.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second for the sale of the surplus property listed in the packet tonight. Any discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. The next item on the agenda is discussion, consideration, and possible action regarding the MARC Household Hazardous Waste Program. Matt?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. So the city received an invitation to participate in the Regional Household Hazardous Waste Collection Program. The program is administered through the MARC Solid Waste Management District in partnership with the cities of Kansas City, Missouri, and Lee Summit. Participation in the program by cities allow residents to dispose of household hazardous waste free of charge at both the permanent location in Kansas City and the permanent location in Lee Summit. It also allows residents access to any of the mobile or pop-up events they host throughout the year. Usually there's a dozen or so of those in the area. Residents of non-participating cities, so cities that don't participate in the household hazardous waste program, can go to the Lee Summit location only. They can't go to anywhere else, and they would be charged $2 per pound of waste that they drop off. The city is participated in this program in the past. From 2003 to 2010, the city was a participant in this program. As I understand, at that time, decision was made for the city to not participate in the program due to low participation. Wanted to bring this back to the board since it's been, over a decade since we last participated, tonight to see if the board is interested in directing staff to include this in the upcoming budget for next year, as well as bring back an ordinance that would approve the agreement with Mark. Mark has asked for responses for next year's program by December 15th. The cost for next year's program for the city of Oak Grove would be $9,595, and that is based on a $1.13 per capita price. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions the board may have.
This would only be for just one calendar year, right? It's not like a 3-year contract or anything like that?
Correct, yeah, just one calendar year. And if you participate in the program, every car that goes to any of the sites, their city is recorded, so they know the number of vehicles and how much pounds were dropped off per that car. So we would get analytics after the year to see how many cars participated. One thing that happened last year is Grain Valley and Jackson County participate, and they do a mobile pop-up event, which is located off of Old Highway 40, right in between Green Valley and Oak Grove. And so this year, there were some folks from Oak Grove that went to that event, although they were not allowed, and so they were informed that they wouldn't be allowed to come back and participate in the future. So that's one of the reasons why Mark reached out to us, is because they did have folks from Oak Grove try to go to that event. So the Leesom location and the Kansas City location would be permanent. That would be a one-time deal, but its proximity means that hopefully some Oak Grove residents would choose to go to that pop-up event. And the numbers provided by Mark on the program, typically in any given year, about 50% of the folks are new people and about 50% are repeats. So meaning that most people don't go every year. They go every few years because they've now got a garage full of stuff that needs to go somewhere. But yes, this would just be for one program year. And then, presumably our population would grow a little bit, price might increase, but 9,600 going forward.
I wonder if, so we have, 2 more meetings? No, 1 more meeting.
One.
I wish there was a way we could poll the city and see if this is something people think they might utilize, instead of just deciding, but.
I think it would have to be really promoted well. I feel like that, I know that several of you have received, when Grain Valley really promoted it last year, and even Matt and myself received questions from the community saying, why don't we have this? You received those too, right? I mean, but yes, I understand.
I've wondered myself, this is just very anecdotal, it's personal experience, but several times I've been like, I don't know what to do with this paint, and I've been Googling like where to take paint, and this is the only thing that comes up, and I'm like, why isn't Oak Grove on the list? And like, I don't know if other people have experienced that too, but I don't know though,
But it costs money.
it's a high cost, but I was just doing
high cost,
math, I just Googled how much a can of paint weighs, fun fact, it's 7 pounds. So this is like 600 and something cans of paint, basically, which most people, I think, would throw away larger things than that, too. So, like, it's probably good ROI if you get a small number of people to do it, but it's still almost $10,000, so.
Yeah.
Could we run a quick Facebook poll just before the next meeting and see if people even vote and see if they're interested, or is that a big no-go? Is that even a thing we can do?
Yeah, we could put something on Facebook and see if,
I mean, it's super easy, you can just throw the question up there.
That's not a bad idea at all, because then it creates awareness, too.
Yeah.
So if we do pass it, then, yeah.
Did you have access to the old numbers? Like, by any
2000.
chance?
Ooh, but that's a long time ago.
yeah, so from 2003 was a partial year, but 2004, 2010, we averaged about 50 or 60 cars per year. Looking at other cities last year, Lone Jack, for instance, had 30, no, they had 4 cars, 500 pounds. So it
4
does,
cars for
so it does depend a lot on how much you
market it.
You market it. Richmond, for instance, had 119 cars and 14,000 pounds. Grain Valley had 97 cars and almost 13,000 pounds. So,
Well, then that makes me wonder, are people like using it for commercial purposes? If they're taking that much weight. So,
I wouldn't, I mean, I don't know if I can do this, but I make a motion, we throw a Facebook poll up there and see if the citizens are interested or not, wait for the results, and then vote on this next meeting.
Good idea.
I like that idea, Kelly, if we're specific on the post regarding the cost difference. You can now do it at $2 a pound, or we can, as a
Or
city,
for
pay.
1 year, you can do it
Yes.
for free. Well, for, you're free, for the
Yes.
citizen, yes, yeah.
And just close the post a few days before the
Yeah.
next meeting.
I mean, it's super simple, if somebody don't have it, I can walk through it, but it's really easy. That's my motion.
Was that a motion?
That was my
Can you
motion.
say it again?
I make a motion that we create a poll online to see if citizens are interested in this, and bring those results back to the next meeting and make a decision at that point.
Okay.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second to create a Facebook poll online to get results for MARC Household Hazardous Waste Program and to bring it back to the next meeting. Any discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. The next item on the agenda is discussion, consideration, and possible action regarding the scheduling 2024 budget workshop on Monday, November 20th, or Tuesday, November 21st, 2023. Matt?
yeah, thank you, Mayor. So staff would like to schedule the budget workshop discussion and presentation for a 6 PM early start, either November 20th or 21st. Staff is available either day. So we're simply just looking for direction from the board on what your preferred date is. For reference, last year, the workshop was from 6 o'clock to about 8:30, about 2.5 hours.
Oh, really? It seemed way longer.
You get pizza, too.
I know. I vote Tuesday because Monday is my birthday.
I knew you were going to say that.
And isn't there a Chiefs game?
I vote Tuesday also because it's Kelly's birthday.
Thank
That's
you.
why.
Yeah.
That's the only reason. She's
Yeah.
full of it. No, I'm kidding. Neither day is fine. I don't care.
No, I'm not kidding, though.
No, she really,
Chiefs Eagles. I'll make a motion that we have it at 6 PM on the 21st.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second to have the budget workshop meeting on November 21st, Tuesday, 2023. Any discussion? If not, all in
Oh, I'm sorry.
Your discussion.
That would move the full meeting, the board meeting.
Correct.
Not just the workshop
We-
to Tuesday.
Yes.
Yeah, we
So
would
do
not have a
back-to-back
meeting on Monday.
I just want to clarify, yeah, that's
Don't
not
show up
just
in
the
the
workshop.
parking lot, okay?
Yeah, done.
All right, any discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. The next item on the agenda is discussion, consideration, and possible action regarding a request from Oak Tavern LLC, doing business as the Oak Tavern, submitted by John Kelly, owner, to sell intoxicating liquor, all kinds, by drink, Monday through Saturday at 1107 South Broadway, Oak Grove, Missouri. Kim?
Yes. John Kelly, the owner of Oak Tavern LLC, doing business as the Oak Tavern, submitted a liquor license application and the supporting documents for the board's approval. He's requesting a license to serve intoxicating liquor, all kinds, by the drink, Monday through Sunday at a restaurant and bar located at 1107 South Broadway. The hours of operation will be Monday through Saturday from 11 a.m. until 1 a.m., and then on Sunday from 11 a.m. until midnight. If approved tonight, they are requesting a letter to the Liquor Control Board of the city's notice of intent to issue the liquor license.
Thank you, Kim. Any questions for Kim?
I make a motion, we approve the request of the liquor license to the Oak Tavern.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the liquor license for the Oak Tavern. Any discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. The next item on the agenda is discussion, consideration, and possible action regarding a resolution authorizing the fund balance policy. Matt?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. So this is the fund balance reserve policy to ensure that the city maintains responsible fund balances for long-term financial planning. The fund balance reserve policy is in alignment with GFOA best practices. It defines the fund balance reserves for budgeting purposes and includes reserves for each fund. In addition, some of the funds include both a minimum required balance as well as a target fund balance. All funds include a minimum balance reserve of 2 months or 17% of budgeted expenditures. The city's main operating funds, the general fund, transportation, water, and sewer, include a 35% fund balance goal with the 17% being the minimum reserve. This is due to the fixed cost nature of those funds. Since they're our main operating funds, they have that goal that's slightly higher. The debt service also has a goal of 35%. This is due to the timing of revenues from the county. We primarily receive those tax funds in December and January, so depending on distribution, that may change fiscal years. The use and capital funds, since those are primarily one-time capital expenditures and don't include fixed costs, they have the 17% minimum balance. Now, these balances are consistent with GFOA best practices that have been identified by reviewing the predictability and volatility of each fund's revenues and expenditures, exposure to significant one-time costs or emergency expenses in those funds, the potential for overlapping expenditures between funds, and also the potential impact on any bond rating. So the policy ensures the strategies and timeframes exist in case those reserves ever dip below those percentages. There's recommendations for how quickly those reserves should be replenished. And finally, really the main purpose of the fund balance reserve policy, which is why GFOA encourages cities to adopt them, is a budgeting tool both for staff and for the governing body to ensure the city maintains prudent and fiscally responsible reserve balances, not just today or next year's budget, but long-term. Each year takes a look at those percentages to ensure that we're leaving the city in a financially solid position. Every one of our funds is expected to end this year exceeding this policy. So we are in a good financial place. This policy really is just there to keep us there. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions the board may have.
What, if any, repercussions are there if a city violates this policy in the future? If we put this into effect and then 10 years down the road, the city's in violation? Sure.
So one of the things that the bond rating would be one. So when rating agencies look at a city, look at the management practices, they like to see these types of things. They like to see that you have a fund balance reserve policy and that you're following it. So they would, if you weren't following it, that might not look good. But ultimately, there's not really any significant repercussions. The city's third-party auditor would look at this policy and would come back when they do their report, and if we were not meeting a target, would inform the board, okay, you have this policy, and you're not currently meeting it, and you should look at, either revising your policy or looking at items to replenish those reserves by your own policy. So really, it's just it's a way for the city to have a policy in place so that staff, when they're developing the budget and when future boards are approving it, there's a metric for them to grade that by.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's like checks and balances, yeah.
This is an ordinance?
No.
Resolution.
It's a resolution, okay.
I guess I would make a motion to approve the resolution authorizing the fund balance policy. And just thank you, Matt, for putting that together. I know we kind of had that discussion after the last budget, and it was just an arbitrary number, so I appreciate you all working on that and putting together a policy.
Absolutely.
A second?
We have a motion and a second to approve the resolution regarding authorizing the fund balance policy. Any discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. The next item on the agenda is discussion, consideration, and possible action for Bill Number 23-32 regarding an ordinance calling an election in the city of Oak Grove, Missouri on April 2nd, 2024. Kim?
Yes. This is just the ordinance calling for the election on April 2nd, 2024, for the mayor and then one alderperson per ward for a 2-year term.
Thank you, Kim.
I move for first and second reading by title only of Bill number 23-32.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for the first and second reading of Bill number 23-32 for the proposed ordinance by title only. Any discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. City Clerk, would you please read the full title of the bill 2 times?
An ordinance calling an election in the city of Oak Grove, Missouri on April 2nd, 2024. An ordinance calling an election in the city of Oak Grove, Missouri on April 2nd, 2024.
I move for adoption of Bill number 23-32.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for the adoption of Bill number 23-32 to ordinance. Any discussion? If not, City Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Jeremy Taylor,
Yes.
Rachel Kilmer,
Yes.
Pam Pope,
Yes.
Kelly Netto,
Yes.
Tracy Newcomer.
Yes.
The motion is approved, and Bill number 23-32 becomes ordinance number 2091. The next item on the agenda is discussion, consideration, and possible action for Bill number 23-33 regarding an ordinance amending Section 230.030 subsection M of the Municipal Code of the City of Oak Grove, Missouri regarding the collection of residential solid waste. Matt?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. So this is an ordinance that would change the residential trash collections from Monday and Tuesday only to Monday through Friday. And if in a particular week, a federal holiday, then they could pick up the trash on the preceding Saturday. So if the prior week, the Monday through Friday includes a federal holiday, the trash company could pick up on Saturday. And that's to catch up through that week. So if Monday's a federal holiday, Monday pickup becomes Tuesday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Thursday, Friday, and then the Friday pickup would become Saturday.
I move for first and second reading by title only of Bill number 23-33.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second for the first and second reading of proposed ordinance 23-33, or Bill number 23-33 for ordinance. Any discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion passes. City Clerk, would you please read the full title of the bill 2 times?
An ordinance amending Section 230.030 subsection M of the Municipal Code of the City of Oak Grove, Missouri regarding collection of residential solid waste. An ordinance amending Section 230.030 subsection M of the Municipal Code of the City of Oak Grove, Missouri regarding collection of residential solid waste.
I move for adoption of Bill number 23-33.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for the adoption of Bill number 23-33 to ordinance. Any discussion? If not, City Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Jeremy Taylor,
Yes.
Rachel Kilmer,
Yes.
Pam Pope,
Yes.
Kelly Netto,
Yes.
Tracy Newcomer.
Yes.
The motion is approved, and Bill number 23-33 becomes ordinance number 2092. The next item on the agenda is a public hearing regarding amending Article, that's 8? No, what is that? 5, 6, 7. What is that?
8.
8, am I right? Yeah. Of the Unified Development Code regarding the floodplain management ordinance section 405-350, general provisions, subsection B3A. Matt?
Thank you, Mayor. So the city is required to update our ordinance to reflect the most recent flood insurance study, or FIS. The city's current code references the FIS study in Jackson County dated January 20th of 2017. The new FIS is set to take effect December 7th of this year, and the city is required to have an up-to-date ordinance in order to be compliant. The change to this ordinance doesn't have any real material effect on Oak Grove or the Oak Grove community. The floodplain regulations that are being updated are the panel maps. There's 8 panel maps that impact Oak Grove. None of those panel maps are being updated, but we still have to reference the updated county map. If the city does not update their code to reference the new FIS map, the State Emergency Administration would have to deem us a non-compliant city. That information would be forwarded or sent to FEMA, and in turn, FEMA then might not renew anyone's current flood insurance in Oak Grove, and they may also not pay out flood claims to a city that's deemed non-compliant. So that this all relates to the National Flood Insurance Program, which is updated periodically. This includes information on water courses, lakes, and other hazardous areas. And so the NFIP was updated for water courses outside of Oak Grove, but within Jackson County. So we need to align our ordinance with the new FIS study, December 7th of 2023. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions the board may have on this ordinance.
Thank you, Matt.
Yep.
Does the board have any questions for city staff? All right, members of the public who wish to testify regarding this may step forward at this time. Please come to the microphone and state your name and address for the record. I now open the public hearing.
Oh my gosh, that would have been, you should have done it. You should have gone with it. No one ever gets up. That would have been awesome.
All right, if there are no more public comments, or there weren't any public comments, I now close the public hearing. The next item on the agenda is discussion, consideration, and possible action regarding Bill Number 23-34, regarding an ordinance of the City of Oak Grove, Missouri, amending Article 8 of the Unified Development Code regarding the floodplain management ordinance, Section 405-350, General Provisions, subsection B, 3A. It's an ordinance.
Okay. I move for first and second reading by title only of Bill Number 23-34. Yes.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for the first and second reading of the proposed ordinance, which is Bill Number 23-34, by title only. Any discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. City Clerk, would you please read the full title of the bill 2 times?
An ordinance of the City of Oak Grove, Missouri, amending Article 8 of the Unified Development Code regarding the floodplain management ordinance, Section 405-350, General Provisions, subsection B, 3A. An ordinance of the City of Oak Grove, Missouri, amending Article 8 of the Unified Development Code regarding the floodplain management ordinance, Section 405-350, General Provisions, subsection B, 3A.
I move for adoption of Bill Number 23-34.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for the adoption of Bill Number 23-34 to ordinance. Any discussion? If not, City Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Jeremy Taylor,
Yes.
Rachel Kilmer,
Yes.
Pam Pope,
Yes.
Kelly Netto,
Yes.
Tracy Newcomer.
Yes.
The motion is approved, and Bill Number 23-34 becomes ordinance number 2093. The next item on the agenda is discussion, consideration, and possible action for Bill Number 23-35 regarding an ordinance authorizing the mayor to execute a right-of-way use agreement with Charter Spectrum LLC. Matt?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. So this is another fiber optic company. Charter Spectrum has requested consent from the city to use the city's right-of-way to construct, install, and operate fiber optics communications. The ordinance and attached right-of-way agreement mirrors the conditions allowable under state law and has been reviewed and generally agreed upon by the city attorney's office as well as Charter Spectrum's legal team. This is the same agreement that we have used for the other 3 or 4 fiber companies that are in Oak Grove. In our state statute, we're required to treat similarly situated right-of-way users the same. With that, we have to answer any questions the board may have.
This might be a really dumb question, but would we ever get to a point where we physically run out of room for this? Like, I don't understand, like, the physical, tangible thing that's happening. Like, where are these lines going exactly?
Yeah, so
Like-
primarily they're going to go in between the curb and the sidewalk,
So are they all,
in the
like,
right of.
running exactly side by side? in the same like tube or?
Yeah, so these companies can share fiber optic cables and piggyback off each other. They tend not to do that because they're competitors and they don't want to. But on occasion, if it is an area where it's so jam-packed full of all sorts of other utilities that they simply couldn't do it, then they may try to reach out and form an agreement. But yeah, it does become a bit of a mess, and without getting on a soapbox about right-of-way management.
Well, there's not much we can do about it.
Yeah, there's not much we can do about
Yeah.
it. Those are one of the reasons, is because the right-of-way does become very busy. But typically, you'll see them as they go through the neighborhoods. They'll push conduit through, and they'll stick out of the ground. There'll be little kind of plastic tubes, and then they'll come back and they'll pull their fiber optic cables through it. So they're usually, they're usually, knock on wood, pretty good at what they do. But they do on occasion, particularly when they're boring, accidentally hit somebody else's utilities. In that case, they're required to fix it.
And the unfortunate thing is they may have dug up someone's yard, and now they're going to come back through and dig your yard up again. And
Have any of them gone in yet?
Brightspeed has
Started?
yeah.
and socket, right?
And Socket, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, Socket and Brightspeed have both been permitted. And Socket's probably done the most physical infrastructure. They've gone down Fifth Street.
Great.
But they're not
couple.
like.
Brightspeed is the one that I started with, or that I said I'm interested in.
Yeah, Brightspeed is,
Socket?
yeah, they've, and we've got a couple other ones that are still in the permitting process.
Thank you.
Thank you, Matt.
But is what I understand from Charter Spectrum, sorry, they're not intending to wire up the whole city. Charter Spectrum sounds like they're gonna do more one-off type things. Go to certain
Oh, they are.
areas and maybe, larger businesses. I don't think they're intending to do a lot of residential, but certainly that could change, I guess, by their business model. But
Do they give you a map of what their intentions are? Is that how you know that?
in conversation with them, they don't
Okay.
seem to be that they're that interested in it. But, per this agreement, they would have to send us their engineering, which shows exactly where they're gonna go when we physically permit each one of them.
And that's required anytime they come in. They have to show an engineered plan of what they're going to do, right?
Yeah, if it's a smaller work, they wouldn't have to, but for the larger scale ones on these agreements, they would.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you. Does the board have any other questions for Matt? It's an ordinance.
We did the last ones. People need to.
Yeah.
I move for, go ahead. Go ahead, Tracy.
I move for first and second reading by title only of bill number 23-35.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for the first and second reading of proposed ordinance, which is bill number 23-35, by title only. Any discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. City Clerk, would you please read the full title of the bill 2 times?
An ordinance authorizing the mayor to execute a rights-of-way use agreement with Charter Spectrum LLC. An ordinance authorizing the mayor to execute a rights-of-way use agreement with Charter Spectrum LLC.
I move for adoption of bill number 23-35.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for the adoption of bill number 23-35 to ordinance. Any discussion? If not, City Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Jeremy Taylor,
Yes.
Rachel Kilmer,
Yes.
Pam Pope,
Yes.
Kelly Neto,
Yes.
Tracy Newcomer.
Yes.
Motion passes, and bill number 23-35 becomes ordinance number 2094. The next item on the agenda is information reports. Matt, do you have one? Thank you. Chris? Thank you.
No, thank
Mark?
you, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Chief?
A couple items. I want to say thank you for those who gave blood on Halloween. We had 16 registered, 14 units collected, which at the end of it, I wasn't really feeling really excited about having 14, but the blood bank was very positive in the sense it's 14 they didn't have before they started, so it made a difference. And I was able to give after having to be out for a couple of years due to the radiation treatment, so that was my first time getting back in there, so that was good. Second thing, I want to announce that we have been awarded the federal grant for the school resource officer position, $125,000 over 3 years. So we'll start the acceptance policy on that, and we'll work on that into the budget presentation, as well as start sitting down with the school district on how that will look in the long term.
Good news. Thank you, Chief. Corey?
No report.
Thank you. Kim?
Yes, I just wanted to remind everybody that the State of the City address is this Thursday night at 6 o'clock at the Middle School Commons, and also to save the date for the parade, December the 2nd.
Yes,
We have
all- All of your
Breakfast with
faces will
Santa,
be-
Winter Wonderland, the parade, the mayor's Christmas tree lighting, all that day.
Yes, all of your faces will be on the big screen Thursday night, so. Scott? No report, thank you. All right. Rachel?
No report.
Kelly?
No report, but a question. Do you know, just off the top of your head, and it's fine if you don't, who is up for reelection up here?
Yes,
Can you not say that? What?
No.
yeah.
Me,
you
Jim,
can.
and Pam, right?
I am.
Okay.
Yes,
And Jim.
And
yes.
Jim, okay. I
Yes.
couldn't, thought I
Well,
remembered
you-
correctly,
yeah.
but I couldn't remember for sure.
Jeremy?
No report.
Tracy?
No report.
Pam?
I just want to remind everybody that we have election day tomorrow, do not.
Correct. Go ahead, Matt.
No, I was just saying, yes, we do, and this is one of the locations, one of the
Yes.
polling locations at City Hall.
The signs are already out there. Yes. Thank you, Pam. I do not have well, I would like to thank the chamber for coming tonight. Thank you very much, and look forward to Thursday night. That's all I have. I'm looking for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to adjourn. Any discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned.
I didn't want to be on the record. Yeah, I know. I figured I would give you. What is up? What is up?
It's really on it for us is that Jackson County Office thing, that you really need to read it. It's really, it's really hard. Well, but you need to read it really
Is it use tag?
Yeah, you need to read it really.